Hey, everybody, welcome to tonight's late night happy hour. Brian Kamenetzky and Andy Kamenetzky excited tonight to be joined by Aaron Larsuel, the host of the Official Lakers podcast, and a guy who's playing hurt tonight. He's got how many pins in your hand, Aaron?
Well, they've been removed. So it was 5 pins at one point. They've been removed. So no pins at this point in my hand. But a third surgery coming up to allow me to straighten my hand. As you guys can't see if you're listening, but if you're watching, this is me trying to fully extend all of my fingers, and it doesn't look good. So another surgery.
Oh God,
to relieve.
That is
tendon.
Genuinely grotesque. Woof. Your hand, and actually, it's a good thing you're drinking because your hand is basically in permanent holding glass shape.
Yes, it's perfect. Yep, perfect.
Ooh, like you can't do this. Like,
no, I cannot. This is me extending it fully.
And it's a spiral fracture.
Yeah, I had a displaced spiral fracture. Yeah.
You know what that makes you like? I think you will appreciate this reference because I think you actually reacted to this reference I one time made on Twitter.
Okay.
You are the Ryan Gosling of the Nice Guys because remember he had a displaced spiral fracture that Russell Crowe gave to him.
That's right.
In the movie.
That's right. Yeah.
Like that was the exact diagnosis.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not been great.
It turns out you don't recommend getting one.
No, if you have a chance to do that, I suggest you don't.
Are you right-handed?
I am. Yeah.
Oof.
Oh my God. So what can't? Let's talk about the things you can't do.
Okay.
Not all of maybe the things you can't. What are the things you can't do?
Luckily, I'm lefty generally with that, so I'm good there.
like all pros, you have to learn both hands.
You know, yeah,
but seriously, so what can't you do?
On my Twitter, my mama texts me about the show. She's probably asleep now, but I suspect she's going to be watching this tomorrow. So we'll go ahead and leave that alone for the rest of the day.
We were talking about shooting. I don't know what you're talking about.
Legitimately, when you're right-handed, when you're right-handed and your right hand is busted up like that, how much is this actually interfering with your life?
Quite a bit, actually, and I think we'll get into this. We'll get into this later. But one of my favorite things to do is cook, and so it has been difficult. I've had to figure out different ways to kind of be able to do that. I was in a cast for a while. I was in a splint for a while. So now it's better. It's still like I'm not all the way back, and I have another surgery coming up to hopefully be able to extend my hand. But I can pinch the knife like this and then kind of rest my 3 fingers. Yeah, it's not good.
You can do salt bag.
That's
you can do the salt bag guy.
Right. I can. Yes. It's tough. It's a challenge, but we got to adapt, right? So
I remember
coming up here next week.
When I was in high school, I broke my right wrist and I'm right-handed, and this is before. I don't remember if we had a computer, but if we had a computer, it wouldn't have mattered because I was a pretty bad typist then. Like I really didn't type much at all. It was before everybody did everything on computers. Like honestly, you would have teachers who would discourage you from doing stuff on computers because you're supposed to be writing it out. That's the easy way.
Yeah, with the cursive too, right?
Yeah. Well, I can't write cursive.
Me either.
He's never been able to write cursive.
My hand was a disaster.
One of us. I cannot. Basically, my handwriting was so bad when I was young. My teachers said, don't do cursive. You've barely got printing down, past the quality of a 10-year-old.
And by the way, he only prints in like capital letters. Like he can't even write lowercase normal letters.
I had to write in high school a term paper left-handed because my right hand was in a cast and I really tried and I just could not write. Holy shit. That was difficult.
So the absurd thing of all of this has been, I've had insurance for whatever, but I'm a guy, so I don't go to the doctor ever.
Oh.
And I had literally never used my insurance until this. And so they just assigned me a primary care physician because I had never selected one. And so I go there after this, and they literally tried to have me fill
Hi,
out
everybody.
8 pages of paperwork, like to pick my primary care physician and do it so I could get a referral to a hand specialist. I'm like, y'all know I can't use my hand, right? Like they literally sent me, because it's COVID time, right? So they sent me back to the car to fill out all my paperwork.
Right.
I
So,
am
you show up, your
unable
hand
to
is
do
like,
so.
your hand is like this, and like you fill it out, like, basically, like, what do you think is your problem? So my hand is like this.
Right.
This is my problem.
I can't do anything. So I'm literally with my left hand trying to fill out something. That didn't work very well either.
Yeah, it's really, really like it is very difficult to write with your opposite hand. Like there's certain things that, like if you're a good enough athlete, I think, there are people like, I mean, LeBron's an extreme example of this because he is both, one of the all-time greatest athletes ever and truly ambidextrous. But, Kobe used to sometimes just shoot jumpers left-handed if he had an issue with like his wrist or one of his fingers or whatever. Like you can make certain compensations. Writing with your opposite hand is damn hard.
So I said, I tweeted this, or maybe it was on my Instagram, I'm not sure, but a couple months ago, and like I've been talking bad about my left hand. Like you think like, oh, your left hand you can do, or whatever your offhand is, you can do a bunch of stuff with your offhand. My left hand is a straight up punk. Fuck my left hand. Like I've been expecting a lot from my left hand, and it is worthless. I'm like, oh, I can chop with my left hand or do whatever.
Your
left hand. My left hand
hands,
is a punk.
LeBron does it. Football players talk about it all the time. The next man up mentality. Your left hand is not
worthless. No. Completely worthless. I'm like, oh, my left hand should be like at least 75% on my right hand. Nope. My left hand is 75% punk. My left hand is worthless.
The only thing that I do left-handed better than right-handed is shoot pool.
Hold on 1 second. You guys keep talking.
When I was a kid.
Shoot what?
Pool.
Oh, okay.
I shoot pool left-handed, and it's because when I was a kid, one of our neighbors had a pool table, and he taught me how to play, but he was left-handed. And I didn't even know the difference. He just taught me how to play how he played.
Right.
And then when I was like 16 or 17, somebody asked me, like, are you left-handed? And I'm like, no. And they said, why are you shooting pool left-handed? I had no idea that I was. And I've tried now to shoot right-handed because if I could, I would have no bad angle whatsoever. Right. I can't shoot right-handed.
No, if you could do either one. Yeah. So, what's funny about that is, so I played ping pong the other day for the first time. And I think there's probably some overlap between pool players and ping pong players. I don't know what it is exactly, but I think there's some overlap there. So I played ping pong the other day, with my mangled right hand, and was okay. And it reminded me of, I used to work for the Trailblazers, and the best ping pong player I have ever seen in my life is Rich Cho, who was the GM for the Hornets for a while, for the Blazers before that. So when he was the GM, when I worked for the Blazers, we had like an end of season party at Chad Buchanan's house, who is the current GM of the Indiana Pacers. And we're like, oh, we're going to play a little ping pong, hang out. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I don't really play, but like, I'll hang out and we'll play some ping pong. And Rich comes in the house. I see him walking in the house, into Chad's house, with his ping pong paddle, like in a little zip up kind of thing. And he's like, Aaron, you want to play? I go, nope. I think there's like a life lesson there. Anybody that if they bring their own pool cue or ping pong paddle, don't play them.
Yes. It's like you've seen The Color of Money, right?
Of course.
Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise and Paul Newman, they're both playing hustlers. Paul Newman reprising his character from The Hustler. And on one hand, these guys, they're anglers, they're professionals, they know what they're doing. But I always feel like they always show up at their own cues. You can only assume somebody's so bad if they have their own cue. Yeah.
If anybody has their own pool cue or their own ping pong paddle, do not play them. You roll up and you pick one up off whatever the house cue is or the house paddle.
Yes.
Right. You do the thing. Maybe you do the thing where you kind of roll it on the table to see if it's warped.
To see if it's straight.
Like maybe you do that
in front of you, see if you're good. Yeah. If they bring their
like
own,
give her one of
unzip,
these. Yeah.
Or
if anybody is
should,
unzipping anything, don't do it.
You need to get basically a custom cue, but the shittiest looking custom cue possible. Like it needs to be designed to look scuffed up and beat up.
And it cannot be in any case of any kind.
Right. And you place that thing surreptitiously ahead of time on the rack, and you just make sure that you get that thing off the rack when you're about to hustle. Because there's no way that I would not assume somebody wasn't a pro if they have their own cue. Like I know people with pool tables that I'm not 100% sure have their own cues. Like I think the cues they have came with the table.
Right. And I'm always the one, like I try to look like I know what I'm doing. Basically in every situation, it's kind of my my standard mode of operation is just pretending like I know what I'm doing. And so I'm always like, with the chalk trying to do the thing. And so you look like you know what you're doing, right? I have no idea. I'm a terrible pool player. But I'm trying to like, okay, cool. But if I brought my own pool cue, don't play me.
Does anybody actually know how the chalk works? I have no idea. I use it all the time, and I have no clue what it does.
I'm not sure it does.
You know what, though? But like we are all masters. We are masters of pool chalk relative to our ability to use chalk in bowling and the little air vent that goes over the ball dispenser.
Chalk in bowling?
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen people chalk up their hands. I have like a weird, my hand sweats, so it's like a syndrome, hyperhidrosis or whatever. So I'm good at holding my hand over the vent, but I didn't know there was chalk. Man, your shit's got all kinds of problems.
It was
your sweaty, disfigured hand.
Yeah.
By the way, Aaron is correct. Hyperhidrosis is abnormally excessive sweating that's not necessarily related to heat or exercise. Yep. You may sweat so much it soaks through your clothes or drips off your hand onto your bowling ball. That's the exact definition. I'm shocked. Yeah. Despite disrupting normal activities, this type of heavy sweating can cause social anxiety and embarrassment.
It does. In fact, it does. I can assure you. In fact, it does.
Monty 10 points out Rosenbag.
Okay, Monty, I need that. Yeah. I mean, my best bowling game is like a 160 something. And when I generally go, it's when I go, I'm generally like 101 when I go bowling. So I need something. So I'm not.
I don't believe in like, I really think one of the best things that we are moving towards as a society is dismantling certain old-fashioned standards for what manliness is and what you need to be able to do to be a proper man.
Okay.
Standards of masculinity and things like that, and focusing them on what's important. If you can't bowl 100, you're not a man. If you're a grown man, you should be able to bowl 100.
Yeah. Now, are we talking like?
I'm not. That's I think where I'm drawing the line.
Are we talking like blacklight bowling with the bumpers or no?
No bumpers.
No bumpers.
But the blacklight though, I kind of like the blacklight.
Fuck off with your bumpers.
No, I'm usually somewhere between like 100 and 120 generally.
That's
on
fine.
A good day, I'm 130, 140. I've gotten up to 180, but I'm a terrible bowler.
You don't need to be a 260. I'm just saying if you are, and I'm not saying that every so often you don't screw up. You have an off. We all have off days, Aaron, where you don't bowl 100. But I mean, I'll put it out on the poll. But I mean, if you are a grown man and you just chronically can't bowl 100, that
fair. Yeah, that's fair. But here's my hot take. Bowling isn't fun. I don't what's fun about bowling?
Really? You don't like it?
I don't like it. No, I'm not into it. Nope, I'm not into it. It's not a good date. It's not fun to go with your boys. No, I'm not into it.
I mean, now, and I don't mean to get personal about this.
No, let's get personal. What are we doing here?
Do you think you'd feel different about it if you were not a sufferer of hyperhidrosis?
I think it's possible. So here's the thing. In addition to the fact that my hands sweat, I also, even before this nonsense, I have enormous hands. My hands are like incredibly freakishly large. And so my fingers don't fit into the holes in the ball that well. And so I don't bowl with my fingers in the drilled out holes. So
you're one of those guys who holds palms. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So that may be another reason why I don't love bowling. Although the hand vent to blow on the hyperhidrosis is something I prefer. But yeah, no, bowling just is not like nah. I think if you're, I
picture you now at home just holding your hands
before bowling. Date night, you guys tell me.
Oh, I agree with that.
Date night with a new girl. Date night, bowling or mini golf first? I mean, the answer is really neither. But which one first?
Jeez, I've been married.
Mini golf, absolutely mini golf.
That's right. Yeah, mini golf. That's right.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm thinking about it. Yeah. I mean, it's very Karate Kid, but yeah.
Yeah, no, mini golf is the right answer because you can like come around, or even pool. Don't bring your own cue, but pool, because then you can like come around the back and help with the, I guess, stroke. My mom is gonna watch this tomorrow.
It's a little aggressive on the first date there.
Yeah,
it's a little creepy. First date, it was mini golf.
I mean, to take this all the way, it was what Daniel LaRusso did on that first date with
right.
Allie. He was actually helping her, which feels, let's be honest, kind of degrading for mini golf. Like doing that move for mini golf, it's both obvious and a little bit condescending. It is mini golf.
No, it is both of those things. Yeah, it is all of those. Yes, you're not wrong.
I mean, like the idea of, hey,
after this conversation, I picture you just standing around at home, holding your hands up, all these problems, holding your hands up to a mirror, going, "I'm hideous." Like, it's just horrible. Like everything. Why? I'm so hideous.
What is the? I mean, I'm a nerd. I'm a pretty big nerd, but maybe not enough of a nerd. What is it Golem in the ring thing? The
Golem, yeah.
Gollum, yeah. Just looking at myself in the mirror like Gollum, yes.
Why have you forsaken me, Lord, with these sweaty hands?
Well, it's not just sweaty.
Now, that's interesting, though, that these type of hands.
So, like when you high five people, that like they're so big, does it splash?
Not yes. So no, in all seriousness, I am very aware of it. It's been a thing my whole life. So often, like shaking hands or high fives or whatever, you have to I wipe off on my pants or something beforehand. And sometimes it still is weird.
Okay, now this is interesting.
I didn't even feel bad about it.
But this is interesting though, because we were going to get into this later, but we might as well get to it now because
you guys were going to get into hyperhidrosis later.
No.
I have a whiteboard for every show, and it's the third thing on the list.
Well, I was going to say, Aaron, we were going to get into your cooking because you are a fantastic chef. I think we had originally planned to go Lakers, then food, but now we're just going to shift into food and eventually end up hitting the Lakers.
Sure.
But this is a sampling of Aaron Larsuel's work. This is number one we're looking at right now. And I'm reading.
So that's too busy. I don't like how I plated that. That's overly busy, but that's the shrimp and grits. Yeah.
Yeah. Cajun spice shrimp and cheesy cauliflower grits with bacon lardons, blistered tomatoes, charred leeks, fire roasted corn, Fresno peppers, Parmesan, scallion curls, and herbs.
Yeah.
Number two in terms of what we've got for the folks to look at. Whoa.
Oh yeah, see that looks better. Yeah, I like that better. That's plated better. Yeah.
This would be a medium rare New York strip over green onion and shishito peppers with charred Brussels sprouts, charred cauliflower, charred green onions, charred Brussels sprout leaves, crispy shallots, red wine, balsamic fish sauce reduction. Looks incredible to me. And then number three, which there we go, man. Good effing God. Your victory dinner, Christmas. Robin Carlin bullied me into cooking for myself. Hate the plating, but surf and turf with sous vide and seared filet, butter and garlic, jumbo shrimp, frizzled onions, cream spinach sauce, wine reduction, herb garnish. These are all really impressive, Aaron. And we've just learned that you've done all of this while apparently risking cutting your hands all the time because of all that sweat.
Yeah, and a right hand that I think all of those are recent enough that they were cooked with a right hand that doesn't work. Yeah, shout out. They are not serving money. They're not serving that at the snack bar at the bowling alley. Yeah, shout out to
you're Kobe playing left-handed.
Yeah, with the busted pinky.
Yeah. The Raider Ryan, if this dude complains about his plating skills one more time.
That's my man Ryan. That's my man Raider Ryan.
Look, it's a category on Iron Chef for a reason.
Yeah, so I love to cook. I guess I'm okay at it, but sometimes I have so much going on in my brain about what I'm going to do that I think I overcomplicate the plating and I frustrate myself. But yeah, it's especially during quarantine, right? At this point, it's like, what are we, 10 months in or whatever? It's allowed me to it's something to do. It's something to, occupy my mind. I love to cook. I love to entertain people. I love to, one of my favorite things to do is to cook for people. That really hasn't been happening so much in quarantine, but it allows me to occupy my mind and, I'm able to plan out dishes. Let me think, what am I going to do? Let me go to the store. Let me get whatever I need to get. Let me cook it all day. So it really has been something to occupy my mind and keep me from some of my worst impulses otherwise. I enjoy it, but frankly, like a lot of those, they look good, but I don't love some of the plating. It can get too busy.
Yeah, I mean, again, I wouldn't eat it because the plating is just too busy.
Thank you. Hey, that's the truth is the truth.
Quick update here on the poll. If a grown man can't bowl 100 with some degree of consistency, is he less of a man? 70% say yes.
Yeah,
you are less of a man.
I think they are correct.
Yeah, I
agree.
I feel like sub 100 is the definition of child. Like, and I'm not judging that child if they can't break 100. They are, after all, a kid. But I think by the time you are old enough to vote, you should be able to bowl 100. I actually
don't think you should be able to vote.
I was just going to say
that should be everybody in Georgia
before
voter
ID.
Before we can have the Senate runoffs, there should be, you have to bowl 100 before you get in line.
Well, I mean, look, we don't actually, and there's obviously a very ugly history in this country when they attempted these false tests of knowledge or whatever. It was really to keep black people.
You could have just said
voting.
There's very ugly history in this country.
I know, but I wanted to be more specific. I wanted to lay out exactly what I'm talking about. It was really to keep, black people, and if you want to extend it a little bit further, poor people, from being able to vote. Back when they used to actually test for it. But the fact remains that we don't test for any type of knowledge. Like voting knowledge. How are you up on the issues? Whatever. When people get to vote, and that's ultimately fine. But maybe this should be the test. Like I feel like if you can't break 100 as an adult, you may just not be a responsible adult. Period.
No,
to be able to vote.
No, I'm with it, and it also, I mean, because I think we've decided that it's an acceptable. I disagree, but I think you two have decided it's an acceptable first date, going bowling. So I think it's fair.
It's not my first choice, but I think it is an acceptable. It's an acceptable idea.
I mean, okay.
It's not
right? Says
first date. What did you do on your first date? Oh, I took her bowling. Okay, that's a thing people do. What did you do for your first date? Oh, we went to a taxidermy exhibit. That's not something people do.
Those are the two options, I guess. Bowling,
right? I mean,
although I think mini golf is better. And to Andy's point, I think I'd rather go pool sharking, if that's a term. Although don't bring your own cue. Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's a hell of a first date.
The ladies to the same standard, guys and girls, both got to bowl 100.
Yeah,
before they can vote.
Yeah, I mean, look, there needs to be something that qualifies you to vote. Like,
Of course, bowling 100 is it just seems like that should be fine, right?
Because the
maybe a little arbitrary.
There's
maybe
the ugly history with tests. Like, there's I think the laws that prevents people, like felons or whatever from voting, I think are ugly. I think those should be got rid of.
And by the way, to bring this back to Los Angeles and sports and basketball, shout out to LeBron for the work that he did, paying off some of those fines so that felons were able to vote. That's big.
But I feel like being able to break 100, I realize you can unpeel the layers of the onion a bunch of different ways, but this feels like about as sort of neutral a way of testing. Like,
I mean, I'm kind of with it.
All I'm saying is constitutional scholars should look into it. Just look into it.
Right. I mean, I don't know if the founding fathers, who also were like raging racists and didn't
they had duck pin bowling back then.
But like maybe the founding fathers, maybe that's what they there is, I believe there's a bowling alley in the White House. I'm not sure which president had it installed, but
I think it was Nixon put that in.
Oh, well, cool. We want to follow whatever Nixon. Cool. Yep. He should be the beacon of presidentiality. Sure. So Nixon, cool.
Before we go, and we don't have to do this now. We had when Youngmisuk was on last week. He had shoes behind him. We had him go through his collection. So we're gonna make sure that we do this with you.
Okay.
Behind him, I'm like using my cursor on the screen as if anybody can see that. But all those shoes, we're gonna take some shoe questions and talk about shoe highlights. Okay. But let's talk about tonight's game, because this was, the Lakers and our friend Anthony Irwin just kind of tweeted this out during the game as the Lakers, halfway through decided they were just going to go ahead and suffocate the Pelicans en route to their 11th or 12th win year. 12th? 11th? I forget.
11th.
It doesn't matter.
I believe it's their 11th.
11.
11-3. 112-95 they win Friday night. So what was I talking about? I forgot my line of thought here.
They're 11th.
You were talking about how good the Lakers are presently.
Oh, right. He tweeted out just like the Lakers are really good.
They are.
They're really.
Yeah, they are.
Very, very good, because tonight was a night where they were not going balls out, and you could just see as it went on, they played that third quarter. They won at 27-13, where they're like, okay, we're not giving this game away. It's a long season. Yeah. And you could see the transformation of them turning it up to where it needed to be tonight. And I was talking to Andy about this. We were sort of texting back and forth. LeBron's energy output to positive outcome ratio is like 1-to-1. It's perfect. Like, he exerts everything he does to exert energy into the game, whether it's passing, scoring, whatever he decides to do, the payoff is like exact what it needs to be. It's like watching a Jedi at this point.
Yeah. So LeBron is an alien. He's just an alien, right? LeBron is just as good, 98%, just as good as he's ever been. At some point, we assume that LeBron is going to be human again, that Father Time is going to catch up, because Father Time always wins. But it's not now. It isn't this year yet. And this is year 18. And LeBron is still and has been the best player in the NBA. And what he is doing is just simply like nobody's ever done it before. And I don't suspect anyone will ever do it again. The Lakers are the best team in the NBA. And they remind me of those Warriors teams, a couple of those Warriors teams with Kevin Durant. I grew up a Warriors fan. So other than the Lakers, I pay pretty close attention to the Warriors. Working in the NBA kind of takes the fandom out of you, but I still pay attention to the Warriors more than any team other than the Lakers. And it reminds me of those. Now, I don't think this Lakers team is as good as those Warriors teams. Those Warriors teams were like literally all time, probably the best teams ever. But they remind me of those Warriors teams when in the way that when they care, there is a switch that the Lakers can flip. Even that wasn't there last year. There is a switch that the Lakers can flip. And when they flip that switch, when they care and when they flip that switch, you don't have a chance. They suffocate you on defense, and they are so dominant offensively that when the Lakers flip the switch, and it often happens in the third quarter as it did today, late second quarter, but then the third quarter, especially today, when the Lakers flip that switch, there is literally nothing you can do about it because their guys are better than your guys. LeBron and AD are the two of the best few players in the league. And they also come at you in waves, and they're also smart and play well together. This year, as opposed to last year, the Lakers was obviously the best team in the league last year, but this year, I think some of the additions that have been made, the pieces fit better together, and the overall basketball IQ, they choke the life out of you, and it's demoralizing to other teams.
You know, it's funny, actually. I hadn't really thought about this until tonight, but, you know, teams that flip the switch, sometimes it ends up working out. Sometimes it can be a really dangerous game. There's been examples of Lakers teams in the past that have been able to do it. There have been examples of Laker teams that have gotten burned.
Yeah, the Clippers tried last year and it wasn't there.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, like the 2011 Lakers, for example, very much, and a lot of people covering them, including Brian and I for a while, like believed in that ability to flip the switch. And even though there was a lot of tangible evidence that they weren't going to be able to, but that was a group that had just, you know, gone back to back. They'd gone to 3 straight finals. So you end up giving a benefit of the doubt. But one of the things that I think really makes me feel strong about the Lakers doing this is I don't think they're doing it because they're bored with the regular season. I think they're doing it because they recognize what they've gone through up to this point and how taxing everything was. And this is a necessity as opposed to just blowing off the regular season.
It's business-like. It is.
Yeah. So I think that teams generally, they take on the persona, they take on the personality of their coach and their best player or players. And LeBron very specifically will not let the Lakers just kind of coast. He has in the past, right? Like those Cleveland teams that knew they were going to play the Warriors and knew they were going to get their brains beat in the finals kind of coasted during the regular season, and LeBron ramped it up. But I don't know if it is LeBron specifically understanding the opportunity and or understanding his mortality, his NBA mortality. But LeBron is not permitting the Lakers to kind of coast. I think that's part of it. I also think that Anthony Davis went through a few years of feeling like he was beating his head against a wall, being a really, really good NBA player. Now he's a top 5 or 7 NBA player. And I think Anthony Davis is enjoying the fact that he's on the best team in the NBA. And so the two of them are not letting the Lakers kind of coast. And I think it's also LeBron is very specifically aware of, again, right? Like this team is a new challenge. You won the title last year, but this team is a new challenge because Trez is here and Dennis Schroeder is here. And Marc Gasol is here. So I think that has energized LeBron mentally, and LeBron is not letting them take days off. Look, it's human nature. Sometimes when you know how good you are, sometimes you're going to take a step back. Sometimes you're going to let it kind of slide. But this team is built in the image of LeBron, and LeBron is not letting them take time off. And I think the other interesting point here, an important point, is I suspect the Lakers are, just like I did in the bubble, just like I thought of the bubble, I think the Lakers are going to do better than other teams as it relates to COVID protocols, as it relates to staying safe, because I don't want to say the guys are afraid of LeBron, but they all heed LeBron's, warnings. And LeBron is
they're
not
afraid of Jason.
I'll be honest with you. I think COVID is afraid of LeBron.
Right. It's
could you go back to
Norris, right?
I think what you're talking about, though, about the sort of the business-like nature of about the taking the cues from LeBron and all these things is what makes it different than some of the Cleveland, Miami, whatever, is that, and this it was a great point that Ohm made as well. LeBron's comfort level with himself, with where he is, with all of this, he's doing all of these things with the focus and the calculation of how to get the team through the season and pushing the right buttons on with much more joy than there seemed to be 5 years ago, 7 years. I'm not saying he didn't love the game, but there's a joy to it. And so all of that sort of passive aggressive stuff that was a problem back then, and the context is different, being 36, last stop on the thing, all of that stuff, a made man makes a difference. But it also allows everybody around him. It allows AD to thrive. It allows all these other guys to also participate joyfully in this thing that they're doing. And that's part of the reason their chemistry is so good. It's fun.
I think that's a lot of it. And I got to travel right with the team last year before COVID and the year before LeBron's first year. And I've been around, I worked for the Trailblazers for a while. So I've been around NBA teams a long time. And last year, there was something just different. They genuinely liked each other. And they're like, you don't know how much that matters, right? You can't quantify how much that matters, but it matters. And like as it relates to the Clippers, right? The Clippers are really talented. They were last year, but you could tell early on that they just didn't like each other like that. They also hadn't played together. But so when the moments come where you are challenged, right, in the playoffs, if you face adversity, whatever it is, somebody gets hurt, whatever adversity you face during a year, the Lakers had that, and I think do again. I haven't been around as much this year with COVID, but there is something there. Excuse me. There's something there that when the guys like each other, when they feel like they can depend on each other, there is like some institutional thing there that makes it more fun, that gives you that extra energy, especially because there's no fans there, gives you that extra energy when you don't have it, because you just enjoy being around each other. There is a cohesion. And I don't think that's been true of LeBron teams in the past. I think it has been more like LeBron is over here and everybody else is over here.
I mean, it was that way. LeBron's first year with the Lakers, there was a lot of separation with that team, and
and to be fair to LeBron, right? Because I was around that team, LeBron's first year. I was around all the time, on the plane, on the bus, whatever. And to be fair, like to LeBron, he tried. But it did, like all of the stuff about, are we going to trade, the failed Anthony Davis trade, all of that stuff. The younger guys, like that affected them. And I saw LeBron on the bus trying to engage with those guys. And frankly, they were just at a different place in their life, a different place in their career, in their basketball journey. And by the way, good dudes, right? Like Lonzo's a really good dude. Kuz, who's still around. Kuz is my favorite guy on the team. BI, a really good dude and can hoop, and he was good tonight, and he's really good. But like, it's hard to have LeBron pull in that direction with those guys that are trying to figure out their lives and figure out their basketball lives.
Yep.
And he would say, like, the way that LeBron would try to interact with them was often, what is my son listening to? What does he do?
Talked about that his kids were closer in age to, or the Laker kids were closer in age to his own kids than him. And, there is that type of generation gap. And look, I think it was also hard to be fair to BI and Lonzo and Hart and Kuz. It was hard when they knew, LeBron wants this trade to happen. Like, he is dying for this trade to happen. That's hard for them too. I mean, even like Rajon Rondo said, like, this period has been difficult. That guy's been through everything. So, I mean, all of it's hard. But like, you look at, you were talking before about like the Clippers not getting along. You can still win a lot if you don't get along.
Sure.
But the talent has to be
three-peat Lakers.
But the talent has to be that much better.
It has to be overwhelming, yeah.
And it just becomes harder. It's just harder. It's not impossible, but you are adding things. You are adding elements that make it exponentially harder. And that's just reality.
It has to be overwhelming because there are going to be moments. And right, even with the Lakers, right? The Lakers, I thought, were the best team in the league last year. But there are going to be moments, no matter who you are. I mean, like, even if you're the Warriors from whatever, 16 to 18, like in 19, even if you're the Warriors, there are going to be moments where it's not coming together, right? Where you are facing adversity. And that is when you have to draw upon that cohesion, that how long have we been together? How long have these lineups played together? Do we know where everybody's going to be? How well do we get along? You know, like, and people think it's silly, right? Like the guys that go out to dinner or on the road or whatever, right? But that kind of thing, it doesn't always matter. But when you face that adversity, it matters.
I think these last season, Andy and I have had the chemistry debate forever. And I think there are some sports where it matters more than others. And there are some contexts where it matters more than others. The three-peat Lakers are a great example of how, like you said, you don't have to have your stars be best friends to win titles, obviously. I don't think we've seen, though, two sports seasons where chemistry is more important than last year entering the bubble and what is happening this year, where functionally, particularly on the road, particularly now with the new COVID protocols, guys are essentially, if they're following the rules, and I think the Lakers are pretty fastidious about this because they understand what's at stake.
Yes.
If guys are following the rules, you are basically prohibited from seeing anybody who isn't on your team.
Well,
when
at
you're
this
on the
point,
road,
I mean, not basically at this point, now that the rules have been
right. I mean, at home, you can
you're
see
like,
your wife
actually,
and kids. Right. You can see your wife and kids at home, but on the road, like, you got your team and that's it.
Yeah.
And in the bubble, you had your team. That was it. And so if you don't like being around your team, you've got problems.
Well, and also, so in the bubble, one thing that, and I didn't go to the bubble, but I talked to people that were there and heard, whatever. But I think that one of the reasons that the Lakers were so successful in the bubble was because LeBron is a master at knowing when, I mean, and this goes back to, right, like his interaction with Kevin Love, his interaction with all the young guys at the Lakers. LeBron is a master at knowing when to go to the carrot and when to go to the stick. And so I think that LeBron figured out in the bubble that I can't just always be like beating these guys' heads in, right? Because eventually, like you see with assistant coaches, like you see with head coaches in the NBA, like eventually, I don't care how good you are, eventually your voice is going to get tired. No matter how good you are, eventually you're going to wear these dudes out. And so LeBron, I think, is a master of figuring out which guys do I need to beat their heads in because they're not doing enough, and which guys do I have to coddle. And so I think like the guys that were all like one way, straightforward, straight ahead in the bubble, that wasn't going to work. You were going to wear your guys out. And so LeBron did a really good job of getting on guys, but then pulling it back and giving guys a little praise here and there. And that's, frankly, that's what leadership is.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me throw this hypothetical out for you guys. How would 2010 Kobe have handled the bubble and handled the team inside the bubble?
Poorly. I mean, he would have been absolutely dominant on the court.
Sure, he'd have played well. I just mean like,
I don't think Kobe. And I was around Kobe some, but not a ton. But I don't think Kobe could turn it off. And LeBron is like able to turn it off some. And I don't think Kobe, he just wasn't. Kobe was always 100 miles an hour. And I don't think he could have, I don't think he had the ability. or maybe he just chose not to. Like Kobe ramping it down. Just
and this is not a question that I've ever thought about before, and so I'm trying to think it through at the same time. I'm curious what people in the chat think. Because 2000 retired Kobe would have been fine, but 2010 Kobe was a pretty intense dude.
Thinking about this now, because we covered those teams, I think Kobe would have been great, like you were saying, Aaron, in terms of his own performance, obviously. And I think also too, like Kobe would have been good at, just making sure everybody maintained focus in such weird circumstances. But I think, what we saw a lot with those teams was that Lamar Odom was their emotional leader and Derek Fisher was the conscience of the team. And I think in the circumstances of the bubble, those two characteristics would have become that much more important. Like, Lamar's ability to really bring guys together, because I think nobody on that team, Brian, you can disagree if you want. I don't think anybody was better on that team at bringing guys together than Lamar. I mean, like Lamar was easily the most popular guy in that locker room. I mean, he was one of the most popular guys, I think, in the NBA, period. Like nobody disliked.
Sort of the NBA family.
Yeah, I mean, nobody dislikes Lamar Odom.
I think it's possible Kobe would have fist fought somebody outside of one of the I don't even remember the name of the hotels, but I think it's possible Kobe would have thrown hands with somebody.
I mean, look, it's a long time. I mean, LeBron has never hesitated to remind people just how much he hated being in the bubble. We all know 96 days. Like he will remind you at any opportunity.
95 days.
I think it was 95 days, 96 nights, something like that.
Yeah, 95 days because the ring is
But if I had to predict this, and Brian, this is a really interesting question. I think those characteristics of, in particular, Lamar and Fish, and even guys like Josh Powell, who were Josh was really respected.
Super powerful, popular in that locker room.
Very. Josh was. I mean, talking about Kobe respected the shit out of Josh Powell. Kobe would rave about Powell all the time because, by NBA standards, Josh Powell was not the most talented guy out there at all.
No,
but Josh worked his ass off, was incredibly professional, and I think maximized the talent that he had. Josh Powell played to the just utmost ability that he had at the NBA level. And I think guys like him would have been really important. I think actually a lot of the individual personalities, there's somebody by round 2 would have told Sasha, stop speaking. You're not allowed to speak for the rest of the time we're in this bubble, just for the greater good. Don't take this personally, but you can't talk anymore.
Don't take this personally. You can't talk anymore. There's really no other way to take that.
That seems kind of personal.
But am I wrong?
No.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I realize. Look, every member of the team is valuable and all that stuff. They would have done was it Rashawn Holmes who just accidentally wandered across the border to get
to pick up his Postmates. Yeah,
they would have thrown Sasha over the border for a Postmates order.
You better not talk bad about my guy.
We love Sasha.
Those free throws matter.
Look, we love Sasha, but Sasha graded on all of his teammates in times.
Yeah.
He just.
Yeah, it's still the best clip ever is the one from that preseason game where he's dribble, and Bynum just, you can hear on the audio because it's a preseason game or whatever, and there's nobody, nobody's talking. Throw me the fucking ball.
It is so that and the clip, you can find all these on YouTube, and I highly recommend people do.
I'll find it right now.
The clip of it's, I think, also a preseason game. You see Sasha trying to run some pick and roll with DJ Benga, and DJ didn't do what Sasha wanted him to do. And maybe Sasha may have been correct about what DJ was supposed to do, but he starts chirping at DJ, and DJ starts going back at him, and Lamar breaks him up. Lamar's like, no, stop. And I think it's Kevin Harlan is calling the game. He's like, I don't know if Sasha wants to be doing this. Like DJ Benga's like a black belt. Like,
this is true.
It is true. Like Benga's like a martial artist.
I think it's fascinating that, or not fascinating. I just think that it's really interesting that I think last year and then this year, the like interpersonal dynamics of teams probably matter more than they ever have, because there aren't fans there, and because this is such a strange time, and because you have to spend more time with your guys isolated. I think the interpersonal dynamics, all the stuff that we've made fun of, and talked about and had these fringe stories forever, I think it matters more now than it ever has before.
Yeah, I found the clip, by the way, so hold on one second. I'll share it.
Like, I mean, what we've seen with the chemistry of this Lakers team, beyond them getting along really, really well, and we've all been around them, they really get along well.
Yeah,
this is actually
it's legitimate.
It's
right, here we go. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just under 3 minutes to play in this third quarter.
Oh.
And the best part about that is, like, Bynum was decent. It was a decent post-up thread, but the best part about that is how now, whatever, 10 years or so later, how worthless of an attempt that would have been had Sasha thrown him the ball.
Yeah.
Everything we know now would say, don't do that.
No, everybody right now would be yelling at Bynum for demanding the ball from a shooting specialist like Sasha.
In the post, what are we doing?
Oh God,
it's not, like the clips of those, like even like you don't even have to go back to 2000, again 2010. Watch some of those games against the Celtics. How much further inside the 3-point arc the game is?
It's just a different
go back
game.
to 2001. It's like they're not allowed to be more than 8 feet away.
It's not even the same sport. Lakers fans aren't going to like that, but I like this. But there's something going around. I believe it is the '84 finals against the Celtics, and I want to say it's game 3 or 4, and the first 2 minutes are on YouTube, and it is just awful. It is like, it looks like a different sport. Like, nobody can dribble with their left hand. It is literally like 0-0 for the first 2 minutes. It's just, like terrible 18-foot jumpers that aren't close. It's bad post-ups it is horrible.
You watch
literally
the Last Dance. Every game in the Last Dance is 83-79 in the fourth quarter, and Jordan does his highlight thing.
I can't remember what it is, but I think it's the '84 finals, and it's game 3 or 4. Go look at it on YouTube or on Twitter. Try to find it, and it's literally in the first 2 minutes. It's 0-0 because nobody can do anything. It is horrific. Like, I mean, we get like all the cool, like, everybody loves all the old Laker teams and all the 95, 96, like all those old teams. They would get obliterated by teams today.
Okay, I just looked up in 1989, I think sort of the last year of Showtime. Kareem. It was Kareem's final year.
Yeah, Kareem was my age.
Byron and Michael Cooper led the team in 3-point attempts per game at a whopping 2.6.
Yeah, it's silly.
Like, they were the Gunners at less than 3 threes per game.
Yeah, I know you guys were talking yesterday about a friend of all of ours, Michael Thompson. Like, ask him, right? Like, ask him what his son would do to those teams. He would make 103. I mean, it would be silly.
Yeah, but like I will say, like, the one thing that does stick out when it works. And again, you go back and you watch like every single game in The Last Dance that Jordan, these big takeover moments and all whatever. You peek down in the corner and it's 86 to 83 with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It's like, oh my God. But those moments where it worked, the ability for guys like Magic, Bird, like to pass in tight quarters.
Yeah.
When 10 guys are inside this arc, which, again, served more as an electric fence than an incentive to step outside and get an extra point on a jump shot. It's it's remarkable, but the ability to be able to move the ball like that. But overall, I'm with you. I mean, the highlights of Showtime, all this stuff are great, but overall, it is a much more entertaining game to watch today than anything it was, at least in my life.
I don't understand. Like, so there's this thing. We have all this nostalgia, right? For like, this was my father's NBA, right? We have nostalgia for back in the day, but I don't understand everything advances, right? Whether you think it's better or not, like technology advances, science advances, like whether you think it's better or not, fine. But like, I don't understand why people think that basketball is the one human endeavor that doesn't get better over time. It's silliness, right? Like the athletes are better. The shooting is, everybody's like, oh, the guys, there's no fundamentals. The guys can't shoot now. Go watch a game from 1985. It looks like an all-star game. Everybody can make a bunch of jump shots because nobody's guarding. It looks like an all-star game. It's wide open 18 footers all the time. Oh, the fundamentals are better. No, they're not. Nobody's guarding. And also nobody can dribble with their left hand. It's terrible. Go watch, literally go watch. I think it's the 84 finals. Go watch game 3 or 4. Magic Johnson doesn't dribble with his left hand. It's not like teams now would destroy this Lakers team right now would beat whatever Lakers team, whatever Showtime team you want. They would beat them 140 to 92. They would embarrass them. It's silliness.
Although,
right?
Although I will say this, Magic still would have thrived. Can you imagine Magic?
Well, the best players would be great in any era, but not
Magic. Magic A didn't guard anybody, and B couldn't shoot.
Yeah, Magic, but that type of passing though, it's and that type of rebounding, right? And
it's valuable, but like
but think about the looks though that other people would get with Magic setting them up in this era.
My God! Magic is like, but here's
that
the thing.
Size.
Yeah, no, I get it, but Magic is like he's Simmons, he's Draymond, like, right? He's like yeah, Magic is still a really good player, and Bird, like, could he make a bunch of threes? Probably. Maybe, probably. Now, if he came up in this era, could he? Probably.
Oh yeah, I mean, like it's always.
Who is Larry Bird guarding?
Well, like here's the thing though: when you make those assumptions, you can't just import Kevin McHale and Kevin McHale's 1986 body to today. You have to assume that fitness and all the what does a fit version of Kevin McHale look like? You have to. It's only fair. And some of these guys that played
so they're probably look. Yes,
Bird with a 3-point line. Bird with a 3-point line that people actually used would be insane. Like that much more crazy good.
So here's the thing. Probably. I think that's probably right. But I know that there's also a chance he's Nikola Mirotic in booty shorts. Like
okay, that's too strong. I'm not accepting that one.
I don't even think the Lakers people on this board are willing to accept Nikola Mirotic in booty shorts.
Okay, I'm going to
probably you're probably right. But
no, I feel I'm definitely right.
And Steph Curry and
he would not be Nikola Mirotic.
I know what they do.
No, he would not be Nikola Mirotic in booty shorts. No.
Yeah, I know. I don't feel I'm probably right about this. I feel I'm definitely right about this.
Honestly, even again, I'll ask the people on the board, even diehard Lakers fans who slander the Celtics at any opportunity, I think we're offended by that.
I mean, Nikola.
Okay, but fine. But who put Larry Bird in today's NBA?
But you have
who's he guarding?
But I guess maybe some of the guarding issues could be there, but it's not like he'd be the only superstar who can't guard. I mean, there are superstar level players who are not incredible defenders. I mean,
absolutely.
James Harden has won an MVP, and he lost interest in defending the minute he left OKC. So I mean, it's possible.
James Harden is a disaster on defense unless he's in the post. Yes,
right. So I mean, it is possible to do these things without being an incredible defender. So
sure.
I think, I mean, Bird, who knows? I mean, Bird might have ended up.
About Bird is there's no way that his back would have been wrecked today the way that it was then.
Yes, he's also. I agree with that. There's also he's probably better off not laying. He doesn't have to lay on the baseline every time he comes out of the game in series against the Indiana Pacers and Chuck Person. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like the training.
You think Nikola Mirotic in booty shorts is too far?
It's a little far. Now, okay, let's reverse this. How do you think Mirotic does in the 80s?
I think he's the same. In fact, I think he might be Larry Bird.
Oh, wow.
No, he doesn't. No, Bird was an incredible passer. I think that's the most underrated part of Bird's game was his passing. He was an incredible passer. And all the like close quarter stuff. You guys are right. All the close quarter stuff with him and Parrish and McHale is fair. I just think Larry Bird is the most overrated superstar all-time player.
Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Why do you think that?
Because I think that like generally the best players, the all-time best players have physical advantages that Larry Bird just doesn't have.
Okay.
Right. Even if you go back years and years and years, right? Even if you go back before Larry Bird, all of the best players were generally physical marvels even in their era. And so I wonder, like, if you were to take Larry Bird right now and put him against any 3/4 in this era, and play him one-on-one, I don't know how Larry Bird, I just don't think he can, like, I don't know how he scores. If Larry Bird played LeBron one-on-one,
oh, LeBron would destroy. But that's not the point. Like one-on-one. But like, imagine Larry Bird playing with LeBron.
I mean, I would think he's getting buckets, but Nikola Mirotic would get buckets too.
You keep bringing it back.
Just like
Kyle Korver got buckets.
Look at you, Aaron Larsuel. We've learned tonight is Aaron Larsuel is a secret Nikola Mirotic stan.
Jesse Phelps says, "God damn it, Larsuel's making me want to defend Bird. This could not be more wrong."
Well, I have my A's hat on. It's almost Celtics colors. So.
Howard Cosell says, "I'm searing my steak with these hot takes that Aaron is dropping."
I don't.
But you know what? This actually is an interesting point, though, that you bring up with Bird defensively, specifically the defense that you have to play in such a spread era.
Yeah,
that's actually interesting. Like the idea, because like one of the things that I think gets lost when people who want to criticize this era talk about the lack of hand checking and the advantage that creates, sure. I understand all that. And like, that it's nobody defends now. It is so hard to cover the amount of space.
You got a lot of ground to cover.
You have to be moving constantly in this NBA.
Let's have right. They do all of these scenarios, right? These hypotheticals, the whatever 15-16 or whatever Warriors against those Bulls, or the last year's Lakers against the 2001 Lakers, or whatever you want. Fine, right? Like, you go run a 1-3 pick and roll and have Larry Bird have to switch on to Steph Curry or Trae Young or Dame Lillard. Good luck.
Yeah, but this is your point. And this is why I think cross era comparisons, particularly something in the NBA, when, back in the day, Magic Johnson was an alien. He was a 6'9" body of a power forward playing point guard. Yeah. There are like 7 of those guys in the NBA now. Ben Simmons
he was an alien. Yeah, until Penny Hardaway, he was like the only one. Yeah.
Like that was like Wilt Chamberlain was this thing that did not exist until he came along.
Yeah, but that's kind of my point. Like Wilt Chamberlain, his body and athleticism, like, is he going to score 50 a night now? No, but Wilt Chamberlain was an alien.
Sure,
and he.
That's why then
Larry Bird. That's the thing. Like Larry Bird, like a 6'9" shooter. That's like. really intelligent but doesn't move that well. There's 1,000 of those guys now.
Yeah, and Wilt would be Wilt. He'd be a Hall of Famer in any era, but like he wouldn't be routinely averaging 33 rebounds for like a season.
And
that's right.
I vacillate between Larry Bird probably isn't even a rotation player in this NBA, and like Larry Bird is fine, but like again,
damn. I mean, even Nikola Mirotic was a rotation player in this NBA.
I mean, come on.
But that's the point. Right, like
so it's like Larry Bird and like which Antetokounmpo do we have? I always forget.
Kostas.
So it's Larry Bird and Kostas just sitting on the end of the bench, going, "Come on, give me my 2 minutes of garbage time."
If they played 1-on-1, Kostas would roast Larry Bird.
Wow,
Kostas would destroy Larry Bird if they played 1-on-1. Oh, he'd destroy him.
That's a hell of a take.
He'd embarrass him. He'd embarrass him. Why do we think that throughout time, like the basketball is the one human endeavor that does not advance?
No, it's more just about Bird specifically. Like it's not even. I
don't get it. Larry Bird.
No, you're right. I mean, that was the point I was making.
One
is
of the best shooters ever? Probably. We don't know. Probably.
Right, but like when I was a kid, a large left tackle was 290 pounds. 280, like the 300-pound lineman was like, whoa, that's a big boy.
Right.
If you're not 330 playing left tackle now, you're
right
little.
Without the ability to run around and
right. With 330 running a 4.6 40.
Right.
Andrew Whitworth is one of the most just jaw-dropping specimens you will ever see up close. He is this mountain of a person who also like has feet like a ballerina. It's unbelievable what he does, especially at this age. Like you have to really want to do it. Like you have to really want to be out there. He is, I believe, 37 years old, playing offensive lineman, left tackle. He's 38, 39? 39. Good Lord.
And is still damn good.
6'7", 335, very little fat on the man.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really because there are some linemen you see that obviously they're strong. They are in incredible shape despite their guts, but they nonetheless have pretty damn big guts. Andrew Whitworth, like Brian said, none of that.
Right. Like Aaron Donald, like we're first, defensive linemen used to look like, sloppy. Aaron Donald looks like a bodybuilder.
Aaron Donald without a shirt on is one of the most let people in behind the curtain. Like when you go into a locker room, it's like it is for obvious reasons. You're not supposed to like just stare at people because it's uncomfortable.
Right.
Like you wouldn't want to be stared at in it. Like they're
more uncomfortable
human
for you or
beings
him?
Who don't want to be stared at while they're getting dressed and all that. Aaron Donald is hard to look at. It's like you're just like, I don't understand how a person can look like that and move the way he moves. It's one thing to just be so yoked out. Like there are people, but like to be that and still be able to move. It's like, I don't like LeBron is very similar. Like watching LeBron, and I hope after the pandemic is over, this is something I've said to people many times. If you've never been to a Laker game, and I know it's expensive and I know it can be hard to get there and all these other things, it's worth saving your money to be able to see LeBron one time because he actually doesn't translate to television.
No,
the size of LeBron.
He's literally a superhero. Yeah,
the size of LeBron and the way he moves and the athleticism at his size doesn't come through on TV. When you see it up close, when you see it person get down there for pregame shooting or whatever you can do just to see it, it's hard not to just sort of stare at the guy and go, I don't understand how you and I are technically the same species.
Right. So quick story. And by the way, this is a story to elucidate that it's not by accident, right? Like LeBron won the genetic lottery, but it's also not by accident. This is his first, no, it was last season, which feels like 100 years ago at this point. We had left, I think it was Dallas and went to San Antonio. We get into San Antonio at whatever time in the morning, and I go to my room, go to sleep, and I get up. And this is game day, right? Game day in San Antonio. And I get up at like 6 something because sleeping is I don't sleep anyway, but like it's always you're on the road so much, like your sleep is always off. So I get up at like 6 o'clock Central Time in San Antonio, which is like 4 o'clock Pacific time, right? Which we're used to. I go down to the gym in the hotel, and I'm getting a little workout in. I see Dudley is in there. Say what's up to him. Do my little workout. I go to the other side, and I see Kuz. Hey, what's up, man? And all of that clears out, and then I go to the complete other side of the gym, and LeBron is in there with a full sweat, like pouring out sweat. And I've been in there like half an hour at this point. I'm trying to get my little workout in. And LeBron has clearly been in there longer than I've been in there. He's an hour or hour plus in. And this is a game day. And he is pouring out sweat, getting a full workout in with Mike Mancias, his trainer. And I just go, yeah, okay. Like, what's up, man? I say what's up to him. He says hi to me. I go, like, this dude is just different. We just got in a couple hours before this, and he is at 6 o'clock in the morning Central Time, 4 o'clock in the morning our time, has already been in the gym for an hour and a half, getting a full sweat in before a game later on that night. He's just different.
It's crazy. Honestly, if you get a chance to see what these guys do before games, for most of us, we'd be like, all right, like they come back and they're like fully sweat. They go shower again because they just did a work, like on-court work that for most of us would constitute our workout for the day. And then they go back and play a game.
All of these guys are different. And then LeBron is different again.
Yeah. LeBron often practices without a shirt. And then when practice gets opened up for us, we come in there and we see the tail end of these practices where LeBron is, doing his work, no shirt. It's kind of a jerk move, to be honest.
You don't love it?
Like, he's putting us all to shame. And I feel like there is there is some degree of like troll element to that. Like, do you remember during that first year with the Lakers when he got hurt and he didn't practice?
I was at the game Christmas Day in Golden State. I was there. Yeah.
He didn't practice for like 6 weeks and like really by his own admission didn't do much for like several weeks. And the first practice we're in, he's shirtless. And I'm like, this is LeBron's version of dad bod. Like he let himself go. Like
eating all the Blaze pizza. Right.
Yeah, like, man, screw you. Like, seriously. Like, this really makes the rest of us just look so pathetic.
My favorite moment of that was actually when Corey Brewer was a Laker. And so, he came over from
LeBron's
Houston.
First year, yeah.
It didn't play well. He was off, whatever. And he was talking about it. And Corey was among the nicest people.
He's the best
that you will ever meet. Just a wonderful guy. And he was sort of not trying to make excuses. Like, yeah, I was way out of shape and overweight. And I'm looking at him like, what? like skinny as he's over. Like, what? But that was his explanation.
Yeah, I think the only like NBA player that actually looks like the rest of us is James Harden. When James Harden gets puffy, James Harden is puffy.
Yes, he does.
James Harden looks like the rest. Like, what? I don't know. There's some magazine.
He should be more popular because of that. All right. Before we let you go, lest you think that nobody has been noticing what you've been doing, we have this. Anthony Tassos at Ciros Greece points out Aaron Larsuel flexing the ring with the Cam brothers right now. People have noticed the ring.
Have they?
Yes. So let's see it. Let's see the whole thing here. Nice.
Wow.
Look at that.
There.
Look at that.
Just a little something to wear, around.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, when you meet strangers, what position do you tell them you play? We lost you.
A two-way, like a very distant two-way.
I say, hi, my name is Kostas Antetokounmpo.
Right, you guys didn't see me with my two-way, right? No, I didn't play a lot last year with the two-way.
It's spelled C-A-C-O-K. My name's Devontae.
I play bench is what. I play don't play is what it is.
But Aaron, you're tall enough that you're tall enough. You're tall enough that you could pull off guard.
I mean, I'm like 6'1" on a good day, but
God, am I that short?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sick. Yeah, I will.
I mean, you're no Mike Trudell, but you're not exactly, stilts. Like, has anybody ever called you stilts
like that?
I thought you were taller than that. I thought you were like 6'3".
No, 6'1" on a good day.
He just projects tall.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh my God.
It's all that confidence. It's all that Larry Bird slander. Anybody confident enough to call Larry Bird?
I might
Nikola
give Larry
Mirotic
Bird some
in
work.
booty shorts has enough confidence to project
booty
6'3".
shorts. I might give Larry Bird the work.
I pissed off Trudell so much because I did this on air. He's aware of it. This was public.
No, I need to hear it.
But Trudell is an inch or so taller than me. But I told him
Trudell is 5'9" on a good day.
Trudell is 5'9". Trudell and I are the same. I'm 5'9".
5'8". And I told him that I think people think I'm taller than you because I project taller. Okay. And he didn't believe me. And we put this out on a poll. Just who do you think is taller? Me or Mike Trudell? And I won. And it really angered him.
It's just me. It's because when people call us short, like I had a guy I was putting back in the day when I used to play pickup basketball.
Yeah.
You end up, random shit happens. I accidentally almost broke Tay Diggs' nose once. I mean, I felt awful.
Okay, I like the celebrity.
I didn't mean to.
Celebrity game. I like this.
You just accidentally, you're moving, you swing your arm around and you catch somebody in the face and happen to be Tay Diggs, beautiful face. I thought I was
have a beautiful face.
I was going to shut down shooting on Grey's Anatomy for 3 weeks accidentally.
Wait, what was the doctors? The McDreamy and Steamy or something?
Yes.
You were messing all that up.
Tay Diggs wasn't either one of them. Okay. Right. This is the thing. This guy, he's like 6'9".
Wow, Jesse, how you going? 6'9". Well, which one of you two is posting the comments from everybody else?
No, but there's a burner.
Okay.
Right. So he's 6'9". He kicks the ball in the post, and I'm trying to guard him. And definitionally, I'm 5'9". Okay. Me leaning up against him is sort of in his lower back. I can't reach any higher than that.
Yeah.
And so he turns to shoot and he starts screaming at me. You try to undercut me like that, I'm gonna fucking dunk on your ass. It's gonna be. I'm like, dude.
Tay Diggs is not dunking on anybody.
Tay Diggs is shorter than I am, I think. Right. I was like, dude, you are a foot taller than me. Okay. You're gonna dunk. So when people call us short on the air, my answer is, I mean, I'm 5'9". When you call Trudell short on air because he's so competitive, he doesn't like it. He gets very angry when you call him short.
So so in my one of my experiences where I said earlier that NBA guys are different, right? So one of my experiences with that, I used to work for the Trailblazers for a long time, and still to this day, one of my real close friends played there. Joel Prisbillis, one of my still to this day very close friends. Przybilla. So he's still to this day one of my really close friends. So one summer I go to Milwaukee. He was living in Milwaukee from Portland. I go out to Milwaukee to work out with him. Keep an eye on him, just see how he's doing for one summer. And for those that don't remember Joel, he was just a bruiser. He was good. Yeah. He was a good player, but
he's a banger.
All he did was he started for a while in Portland, and it was a good player. He had 26 rebounds. Still, I think he has the Blazers record for rebounds. But all he would do, he would block a bunch of shots. He would rebound. He would set screens. He would elbow you in the mouth. He was a banger. He was a thug, right? He was an enforcer.
He was the vanilla gorilla.
That is one of his nicknames. In an era where that was a thing in the NBA.
Yeah.
Right. So never shot the ball, never dribbled in an NBA game. None of that. So I go out to work out with him. I was okay. You know, I'm 6'1". I played point guard when I played, right? Like I was okay, fine, whatever. So I go, like in practice, I would scrimmage with the Blazers some, whatever. So I go out to work out with him, and we're gonna play 1-on-1. He hasn't touched a basketball in months. This is the off season. So him playing me 1-on-1 is the first time he's touched a basketball in months. This dude who has never dribbles, never takes a jump shot in an NBA game is crossing me. He's 7'1". He's crossing me over, embarrassing me, laying the ball up, dunking on me, shooting fadeaway jumpers. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Where is all of this? The guys are just different. And then, like, Brian, to your point, then he finally is like, okay, I'm done embarrassing you, crossing you over. I'm going to now take you down in the post. He goes down in the post and swings an elbow at me.
Oh my God.
Like with the ball up here, just to, get a post move. Elbows me in the neck just because my elbows his elbows are at the height of my neck. Oh. I couldn't turn my head for 4 weeks. Because he elbowed me in the neck and then dunked on me.
Dude,
do you feel bad?
I'm trying to build the bridge. Like, let me put it in your back. Here I am guarding you in the post.
Prisbilla elbow sounds awful.
Oh my God, that sounds awful.
That sounds horrific.
Nah, he's good people. By
the way, for anybody out there who's just like Joel Prisbilla played 592 NBA games. He played, what is it? It's something like it looks like he played for 13 seasons and made $44 million.
That's my man. Yeah, he'd
be my man too.
He was the 9th pick, I think, in 2001. He was the 9th pick at Atlanta and traded on draft day to Milwaukee. Played some with Milwaukee, mostly known for playing with the Blazers. We traded him to Charlotte and came back to the Blazers. And I actually talked to him today and made fun of him because he had an opportunity to go when he was a free agent. He had an opportunity to go play with LeBron. Pat Riley was recruiting him, was laying out the red carpet to try to get him to play in Miami. And he came back to Portland. And so I made fun of him for not having a ring because he should have. I told him at the time he should have gone to Miami, and he did not.
That's awesome. Jesse Phelps, the Dan Gad Zurich, Joel Prisbilla, the Blazer days gave rise to the best portmanteau ever among my circle, Gadsbilla. This from Monty 10. Joel was more than serviceable.
He was.
I feel like that's the kind of thing like he would happily put on his tombstone.
Yeah.
More than on his business card.
More than serviceable.
I take that.
You get a good little career.
This was Show your hand one more time before we go. No, the other one, the grotesque one.
Oh, that one, the grotesque.
Oof. Jeez.
Oh man, that is disgusting.
Well, so you know what's funny is my intent was to get this for my right hand. My intent was to wear it on my right middle finger, and
just in case you ever saw
my hand was in a cast when I when I went to get measured. So I got measured my left middle finger. I got measured and tried to get it a little bigger because apparently your dominant hand, the fingers on your dominant hand are a little bigger.
Yes.
But these ones are not available yet. I can't straighten them to even try. So we don't know yet. So hopefully maybe one day we'll get this on this hand, but no.
That wedding ring does not fit on my right ring finger.
Yeah.
No, I can't straighten it.
All right.
But I'm gonna bring it next time I get to see you boys in person. I'm gonna bring it and
damn right.
Yeah, you guys do the thing.
We'll go bowling.
I better roll 100.
Aaron, or you're less of a man. Aaron Larsuel, host of the official Lakers podcast, not like that pirate bullshit that Andy and I do every week. Coming up Monday, we'll do a Orlando Lakers crossover following the big Martin Luther King slate of games, including Lakers versus Warriors. Tuesday, Nate Duncan will stick with the NBA, and Wednesday, we're going quad box. Either doing a Rams post-mortem or a Rams preview for the NFC Championship game.
Jordan, the Rams are getting their brains beaten.
From The Athletic. The
Rams are getting their brains beaten.
No. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
But either way.
Quarterbacks, the all-Cal quarterbacks. Go Bears. My Golden Bears.
Well, either way.
Jared Goff. Let's get it.
It'll be fun with Jordan Rodriguez and Rich Hammond. Either way, the 11 personnel, they both cover the Rams for the Athletics. So that will be coming up. Everybody have a great weekend. Again, thank you to our dude, Aaron Larsuel. See everyone Monday. Dank u Nederland.